Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the WABCOWÜRTH Web Event. My name is Ralf Niklaus, and I have today a colleague with me.
Hello, from my side, I'm responsible for the key account management of WABCOWÜRTH and taking care of our strategic customer here and supporting you today, hopefully on another great show as we had yesterday already. So today we will proceed with our bus diagnose, and we hope you will learn a lot about our product and get a good introduction and a good impression of our system.
Well, I think for impression is enough time for good training. Not really. It's too short, the 30 minutes which we have. But we try our best. Okay, for the beginning, for bus, I think it's important to know we have a bus case. It's relatively thick, so that means a lot of cables are fitting inside. If we are talking about trucks and LCVs or vehicles like that, most of them in date of today, they just have an OBD socket, nothing else. So it's possible to do just with our box. Nothing else is needed. But if you are talking about buses, we will see later on a couple of diagnostic socket positions indicating that there we need a lot of different cables to be able to communicate.
Yes, the bus sector still has a wide range of different plugs compared to the truck segment. It's very different. We introduce a few plugs today and give you an introduction of how big it can be.
I just would show you the special bus section today. I don't want to speak about all the cables which we have inside here. Sure, in the top, it's a truck and trailer part. Yeah, you need some of the truck cables as well, but especially talking about the bus cables, there are many different cables which you find useful on a bus specially. One point, for example, this one. So it's 3 cables connected to the OBD socket, which will be connected on the box. There you have a connector for the MAN city buses, for example, the little square one here for the X206 socket. At X204, sorry, my mistake, which even not with the ManCats diagnosis is supported. So that's a topic which we have separated. And a lot of MAN customers, for example, are using the WABCO-OE or our tool to make the diagnosis on the ATC system. That's the only possible way for it.
Yes, with this plug, you get access to the cooling machine of the bus as well.
Yeah.
Maybe introducing another one, as we have over here. This plug is needed for ZF gearboxes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see here, we have 4 accesses onto the OBD cable, meaning in this case you save 4 different cables. We have 1 instead of 4 single cables combined into 1 cable.
Exactly. Another very important topic, in my opinion, especially on buses, a lot of bus brands are using the WABCO ECUs. We have prepared here ECU from the MTS2 system. So we take the box, unplug our connector down here, and there we have a special adapter cable which fits on here. Why do we do this? On the end is not an OBD socket, on the end is an WABCO original connection socket. So we are able to connect directly with WABCO OE cable. The strategy from WABCO is, for example, to plug in directly on the ECU. So there's no other system in between, and you can make the diagnosis directly towards the ECU.
So we have the connections now between the cable and our box, and I'm connecting now the cable of the ECU contact to the unit. So now we have a connection.
It's just an inline connection. So the cables, the two ones you plugged out here in the vehicle, you have to plug in on the other end of the Y cable. So it's a pass through, and the diagnostic line is separated, connected to our interface which works perfectly with the built-in WABCO OE software.
Exactly.
And with the WABCO OE software, especially in buses, I think you have a wide range of ECUs which you could repair or make the diagnosis on it on OE level. So it's not only the multi-brand section, it's the OE section. I don't have a better idea how to do that.
Okay, so now we have shown you the case, we have shown you the different cables and a few topics of that. What you need to know is that it is a modular product. So in this case, you can choose the need that you have in the workshop based on the equipment. So if there are some buses that we supply with cables as well that you do not have in your garage, okay, don't buy the equipment. Yeah, you don't need it. So we individualize your system to your fleet, to your bus fleet.
Also, if you already own some WABCO OE cables, the little adapter is cheap priced, in my opinion, and you can continue to use all cables you already have. So there's no need for specific ECUs to buy new cables.
Exactly. Okay, we will jump onto our software, and we'll give you an introduction now how to step in our bus multi-brand software, and sliding as well the connection to WABCO here. Okay, as you can see now on the board, you find our software in the main screen. In the main screen, we have above the different signs, bus, truck, trailer, whatever is needed. In this case, we need our bus. You can choose via drop down the manufacturer of the bus. In this case, we have possibilities such as an MAN, choosing the model type, choosing. We see now that the MAN range is a little bit wider.
Just a little bit.
Exactly. And it takes a little bit longer. But as you can see here already, we have different types of buses. And the great thing here is if you're not familiar to the models itself, you can choose via picture. So if the bus is pictured in our software, it helps you a lot to identify the correct bus. And this is important.
I think this is very helpful for the truck workshops on which sometimes a bus comes in, hey, sir, I have a problem. The mechanic is not familiar with the brands, so it's easy to choose the correct version.
Especially within a generation, if there is a switch or sometimes a facelift or something like that, then it's a really helpful issue. So in this case, you can choose now the truck via picture. Another version would be to go via power search. And this is actually, from my opinion, a real key feature in our software, because you have just the power search up here in the bar and you type in what you need. And in this case, you type in MAN, and you can even specify it then via bus type. So it drops down what you already want. You choose the bus and you start over. And as you can see here, okay, within this range, we have 2 pictures, and these 2 pictures are my possibilities I can go with now.
As you have probably seen, when Marcus typed in only MAN, there was a big range of possible vehicles. Yes. And as more letters as you type in, as more the list will shrink down and specify or makes it easier for you to choose the perfect vehicle.
Okay, so now I could step in further. Another option that we have now in with our new software 2.0, with the version 2.0, is the VIN search. So via VIN search, you can now try to identify also your vehicle. We are continuously improving it. So in this case also, our specification will be more specific within the next updates.
In here, we have two possibilities. Possibility one, you take the paperwork, the registration document of the vehicle, type in the VIN number manually, or if the vehicle supports it, you click on the VIN button, please click on it, and you will receive the read it out VIN number from the vehicle. So here we have the, well, it's in demo mode. Sorry, we don't have the space here in the studio to fit in a bus. Here we have, for example, a Mercedes Sprinter chassis. Why it's not only one vehicle what is selected? With this VIN number on the cars software, you know it probably, you will be indicated by only one possible vehicle, that's it. Here, we read out the VIN number. It's a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter model 906, but it could be also a Mercedes-Benz minibus, city, mobility, transfer, or travel. Why are there so many variations? They use the chassis of the Sprinter and built on top the bus. So for us, it's not possible if this specific VIN number is built in for a bus, if it's running as a regular Sprinter LCV, or if it's, I don't know, a pickup vehicle or whatever. That's the possibility from the big manufacturers like Mercedes, MAN, and so on, which they sell also only the chassis to another manufacturer who builds on top something else.
Okay, so I would now proceed with the MAN that we have been choosing on. The Lines City Edition, we choose the Euro 6. Hold on a second. Okay, so now as you can see here, the software offers us the opportunity of a plug position. And this is a feature that we should definitely mention, because the plug position is a very helpful tool, especially on a bus. And if you are experienced with buses, you know where the ECU can be placed in a bus. So it might be behind the driver's seat, it might be in the back somewhere at the bottom, it might be at the top somewhere behind some closet. So we have different possibilities where ECUs can be.
Even in the outside.
Even from the outside, exactly. And in this case, we get the information here where we have to plug in to get access to the bus.
So this one is relatively easy. You only have one OBD socket. It's located in the space for the feet from the driver down on the right, so almost in the middle of the vehicle. But it's easy to find if you know where it is.
Exactly.
I have in my mind another vehicle which makes it more visual how complicated it could be. Maybe you type in the Solaris Urbino. Euro
so
3,
once
4,
more,
5.
I go into the power search and just type in Urbino. Hold on, we step back in our software on the main, onto the front. So on the front page, and we type in Urbino.
URB.
Oh, sorry, URB.
Sorry.
There you go. And we choose the Urbino.
It's also a very common vehicle, at least in Germany. But if you see this picture for a normal standard mechanic, that's a nightmare.
Yes.
Holy shit, how many different plugs. And Euro 5, believe me, that's not old. For a bus type like this, it will run more than 10 years, at least in Germany, and then it will be sold probably.
Yes.
But that's really a nightmare. Okay, you see one OBD, but you see many more sockets. Maybe you make a click on 2 or 3 different sockets to see the GIF animation where it could be located. So we see on top behind of the driver under the roof, there you can find this socket, the MAN socket. The other one for the TPMS system on top of the driver, there's a special socket. It's the WABCO socket in that case.
Yeah.
So I personally find it very helpful. If you are working on your own vehicles only, okay, the first time you search, afterwards, for sure, you know the vehicle, you don't need any more that help, but only
Exactly.
for the first time, that's a great assistance.
So especially if you are working in a garage that serves different types of buses and also buses that are not in your own fleet, coming from an external fleet just for the maintenance in your workshop. I will start a quick scan. As you can see here on the left side, we have two buttons, systems and functions. Those are the buttons that communicate with our vehicle. If I switch on to the functions, you can see the system identification, and the system identification offers us now different possibilities of a diagnose scan. So depending also on the socket that you have been choosing, you can go now with the diagnose scan offered. In this case, I would just choose the first one, 16 pin. And as you can see here now, the ECUs are shown in an overview, and we just quickly start it. So now the box is telling me that it is important to be connected via Bluetooth or via USB cable or via Wi-Fi with the computer, and we just continue.
Now our system will scan all possibilities which we know what could be built in, as it is just a normal scan. On the more modern vehicles, we have implemented a quick scan. So that means in that case, we just ask the vehicle, please give me the list of all built-in ECUs. We receive that download, and then we can scan only the few ECUs which are built in.
While the scan is running, you can jump into the ECUs. In this case, since we are running in demo mode, we do not have a failure, but in case we would have a failure, you could step in here already, and the scan shows you the failure that we have with the fault code, the original fault code of the manufacturer. So in this case, if you are not familiar with the fault code, call a friend of an MAN workshop, call of an Urbino workshop, or whatever we have. If there are any experts running with you, ask them about the fault code. Other option would be the great internet to type in the fault code and the type of the vehicle. Sometimes you will get information that helps you, and sometimes not.
Well, but this is all stuff we talked yesterday already about it on the general session, so we will not go into deep, not talk too much about that topics. It's available also on buses as well as on trucks, both versions of scan. I think what else is important is, in my opinion, our possibility of the universal bus.
The universal bus. Just one point here, the scan is finished now. So you see the system identification is concluded. It gives you the information here. We save our protocol up on the disk, quick and easy. And we just type in now our license plate, and we store this scan in our history so that we get sure to have the protocol further on. So in case you do maintenance for a third party, you have the protocol now to show your customer as well what kind of fault codes the bus already had. Everything is now stored into, and we can go now back to the front page, and we'll show you the universal bus.
Exactly. Well, that's part of documentation to store the fault codes, everything else. You know, by itself, working as a professional, the documentation is more worth than the real work.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. But we store the documentation here local on the computer. You can print it out via PDF or send it via email, PDF out via email. And so you can work with it quick and easy.
It's also possible if you have related systems for your invoices, you can combine them. You can export the data in CSV format or in PDF format to attach the data towards your invoicing system, for example. What I like here on the universal bus, talking about buses, if you remember about the Urbino, with that many different sockets, with that many possible ways. For example, if we are talking about a mobile home, these vehicles also have diagnostic sockets. Okay, we don't have a section for mobile homes, so we cannot indicate where it's built in the socket in the mobile home. But therefore, you open maybe some claps, whatever, remove some plastic and find any kind of socket.
Yes.
In that case, verify the picture, the images. Okay, I have a plug like the 12-pin Deutz, for example. Then you can click on it, connect your system on it, and start out from that point a scan, and our system will identify which systems are located in there. So I think that's also a great help for, I call it, unknown or special vehicles, which are not
Yes.
documented in any kind of system.
Exactly. And it happens more often than you think that you find a socket which you cannot identify. So in case you see that the socket has a plug that is in your case, just put it on, press the universal bus and start the identification with the correct socket.
And don't worry, normally it's not possible to break something with a scan.
Exactly.
Even the box will survive. It's working for 12-volt systems, talking about mobile homes, for example, as well as for 24-volt systems on the really vehicles.
Exactly. Now I would say to proceed to go into schemes, I will hand over the computer to you. And you show us, please, where I get deeper information, technical data, and so on.
Thank you that you leave me the nice job.
You're welcome.
Okay.
It's job sharing called here today.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. I reset the system real quick. So schemes. Therefore, I need to select the vehicle. What do I take? I stay on the A21 as previously. So you see, I don't put in the brand, the manufacturer, I just type in the model. And it shows me two possibilities. I'll take the second one, the older one. In vehicle data, I have the access to manuals, test values, and wiring diagrams to the schemes. That's a possibility to take an overview over all wiring diagrams towards that vehicle which we have. Finally, that's a huge, large list. And if you don't are familiar with the naming of the brand, it's a hard topic to find the proper sheet out here. So another way to do it, which I like better, I go into systems. I'll take the OBD, and here I have the possibility to connect via single connection to any kind of ECU which is behind. I take the engine. I'll use my engine which I have. After the scan, I know which ECU is built in. So if I have chosen the right ECU, I have an overview. Wiring diagram towards this single engine ECU. So if I go in here, I don't have a big list, I have the specific diagram towards this engine. Also, where is it? There is it. Components, I have access to the component list, and so on. What I will do is, I think, a little bit different to show you another way. Normally, or probably, you will open first a diagnosis to read out the fault codes, to see what is wrong with the system. Fault memory, access to the fault memory. Actually, as we are in demo, no trouble codes in there. I have access to the data lists. I have access to the functions like activation, calibrations, and self-tests.
Yes.
Also, we have the red information button. And here, that's extremely helpful, in my opinion, for the mechanic working on the vehicle. If I click on it, I have exactly the same information with only one click.
Exactly.
I don't have to follow the route to click to go to the wiring diagram. I have it here. Okay. That's many different possibilities of wiring diagrams towards this ECU. I'll just take the first one, however. Just exemplarity, open it. Here asking me which version. It's Euro 5 with NOx control. Accept, and it will open me the plan. It's 2 pages. If I take a look here, I really have no idea which one is the NOx sensor. I'm searching for it because there was a trouble code behind it. So I'll take the drop-down list and go to search if I can find the NOx sensor.
Yes, and meanwhile, you can see different numbers on the schematics.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are the pinning in our scheme. So based on different colors and names and numbers that we have on the OE side, we state in our software, in our schemes with the pinning, because at the beginning, when you enter your truck, your car, your bus, you start with the correct pinning, which is our box guiding us through. And at the end, you can find out what is the right pinning then back at the ECU where you are in contact with.
Okay, unfortunately, I did not find the NOx sensor, but to save time, I just picked the oil pressure sensor. So
Yeah.
we see now it's highlighted or framed with a red frame. With the mouse over, I have a little picture, how it looks like. And I see the wiring and the pinning towards the main ECU, where it's connected, which niveau of power, which current is flowing there. And I have an info button. So I click the information, I have a picture of it. And I think that's also important. I have the, how it's called, the graph.
Yeah.
Between on which pressure do I have to measure how many voltage. So
and voltage is a good word, because you mentioned to me that what we should definitely show to you today is our newest development. So therefore, we will now skip the scheme and go into the whole, just help me with the bus.
The E-Citaro, the E-Citaro.
The E-Citaro, exactly, the E-Citaro. And we will show you our newest developments here, because I think this could also be interesting to you, since a lot of bus and fleet management managers are now switching their fleet into electronic buses, hybrid buses, gas buses, and so on. It could be interesting to see from our side that we are going with the development. We try to go here onto the electronic.
Yep, and
systems.
the battery management. As you see maybe a couple of times now, the plus logo with the blue ring around it, that indicates you in here you will find new topics, new inventions from us, which we implement with the update. On the next update, this one will be grayed out again, and you will find different plus logos where you find new content. So selected the E-Citaro. So you know it probably, it's almost very new vehicle. If I take a look on the systems, there we have a lot of new inventions on the systems, especially in that case, for example, engine system or electrical system. And I think if we are talking on an e-vehicle, the engine in that case will not be the topic. It will break, probably not. At least take a look. We have the possibility to take, for example, a look in the battery management system. Take an overview. I just take a look into the data lists, which will be really huge. Sorry for over timing a couple minutes. I hope it's worth for you. But on such a brand new vehicle, so many values which you can verify on the battery management. I think that's a big topic for our developers.
Absolutely. Very helpful. The topic is very common now. The buses will become more and more on the street, not just the E-Citaro. I know that a lot of other bus suppliers, such as Solaris, are coming up with new buses. The fleet management, the fleet drivers, they are changing the buses now over and over. We're glad to have a solution.
And you see, we are on it.
Exactly.
We don't sleep, I hope so. Another topic before we quit here, or before we finish, I see there are a couple things going on our chat function. As we are not finished yet, we will stay approximately 10 or 15 minutes more on the chat. Even you don't see a picture from us, you don't hear a voice from us, but we will be with the specialists still working on the chat for you. If you have further questions, don't hesitate. We are still here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we hope it was very interesting and helpful to you. You got a nice impression about our software, the easy functions, the WABCOWÜRTH functions. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.